say about making it to the next round?
Thank you very much, guys. And wow, I mean, for a team who came in today with zero expectations, you had something to prove, I guess. So any first thoughts on moving to round 2 now?
I mean, if we beat Splyce, I think we can beat everyone. I mean, at least from second Robin. So I'm really confident.
Okay, that was really a different rogue from what we've been used to seeing during the split because, I mean, you've been inconsistent in a way, and there was no defining moment when you guys turned everything around. So was there a moment you knew that you could actually reach playoff and keep on getting better and better?
I would say that we got a lot of experience from every game on the stage. So start wasn't the best, but with every week going on, we felt much more confidence on stage. And coming to playoffs, a lot of people didn't expect us to win, but I was really confident that we'll win. Like, I knew that if we'll play like we do in practice, we will be able to take down Splyce.
It's interesting because coming in today, you guys were, both teams were super slow team, a bit inconsistent in the early game, especially you guys, and you were so proactive today, moving around the map. Was it something you guys worked on this week? And how could you reach this level so fast?
I would say that we worked on it the most because it was the biggest weakness. I mean, we take a lot of experience from stage. We saw what we did wrong, and most of the times the wrong things was rotation on the map. We also focused on that mostly on scrims. So in reviews, we talked about rotations all the time. And yeah, we can see that it pays off.
And even on your first series coming today, as you were going to play the first best of 5 of your career on the LEC stage, what were your thoughts?
I played some best of 5s in my career already, so I wasn't really stressed. I just took it like another week in LEC.
Okay, well, one step at a time, as every team does, apparently. In Ready Check, we talked about the fact that Yumi was less strong than she used to be, Azir and Corki as well, and still you guys decided to pick these champions in Game 1. So can you give me the reasoning behind this?
I mean, the champs that we picked worked really well for us on scrims, so we decided that we'll just go with it. We had prepared so many draft scenarios, actually, like Kog'Maw with Tam, first game with Garen, if they will pick something aggressive into Yumi, like they did Volibear. And yeah, we just practiced those comps and it worked out.
Now that the series is over, tell me more about your prep. How did you guys prep against Splyce? You were mentioning a lot of scenarios being ready, so tell me more about this.
It's more like we knew what champs they play, so what champs are good against them. We expected the Volibear pick, that's why we prepared Garen. And I mean, overall, we don't prepare for like one team. We prepare like what's the best on the patch, like what should we play. And so it wasn't like main focus on Splyce too. Yeah.
In Game 2, you managed to play on blue side, which has been your favorite side during the split. So can you tell me now why you're stronger on blue side than on red side?
I feel like when Kiana is in the game, she's first pick Wolf, so everyone is banning her on red side. She already lose one ban on red. And our draft scenarios were just working better on blue side, so yeah, we decided to go blue.
And then you have to play on red for the last game. You were confident still?
We did a bit weird draft. Enemies left Olaf open for some reason. They didn't even ban a second rotation. So we just picked it, and yeah.
Okay, now rewinding a bit. It's match point for you guys. Nobody was expecting it. You step in on stage about to maybe play the last game of the series, which could lead you to round 2. What goes through your head at that moment?
I mean, I was really confident that we will win. Like, I didn't feel like we will lose regardless what we do. I felt like if we will play like we do in practice, we'll win for sure. And yeah, I didn't come here to lose. So.
And I gotta say, you look very calm and confident for a rookie who just managed to qualify to playoff, then beat Splyce, who was the favorite team, and then who's about to move to round 2. So, I mean, it's impressive to me.
I mean, that's just nice. Like, it's okay.
Well, I hope you can keep this mindset for the rest of the playoffs. Now, you will play against the winner of Vitality versus Schalke next week. Any thoughts on this matchup tomorrow?
We already won once against both of those teams. We also lost once. I don't really care who we'll play against. Like, I just want to perform well, and I think if we will perform well, we are able to take both of the teams.
All right, well, I think like you should keep this mentality because it's been paying off for you guys. Congratulations again on making it to round 2. And now let's send it over to PGL.
Hello everyone, welcome to PGL, where we have Vander, Finn, and Frosker, and more Rogue guests because Rogue won 3-0.
Shocks, we've solved it. The age-old question, who is better, TSM or Rogue? It has been solved. Excellent job, guys. You dispatched Splyce in probably under an hour and a half.
It's incredible. We just had the interview with Inspired, who was very calm, cool, and collected. Really saw this coming. Finn, what do you think about this big win for you?
I mean, it's funny, he's so calm, and he was one that screams the most when we end the game. But it's really fun, actually. It doesn't really sink in yet, I guess, but I think we all felt very confident. We weren't like, oh my god, we're underdogs here. I think we all kind of knew what we're capable of, and we kind of just showed it.
I told my team before they were choosing who are they going to play against that Splyce will be easier than Schalke. Because we had to play either Schalke or Splyce, right? So yeah, all of my team thought Schalke is the easier ones, but I told them Splyce is easier, guys, and we're gonna win it. So
Why did you think even before that Splyce was the better opponent for you?
I just think they play kind of slow, and the games we lost against them in the regular season were just us playing actually bad. And I knew if we're gonna play to the level we show in scrims or in some games we play actually good, like the one against Origin or Schalke, I was confident we can actually take them because, I mean, you could see they don't do actually much.
So you will probably maybe rewatch it, so I'm just going to be honest to you and tell you what we said about the game before it started. We said Rogue is a worse version of Splyce because both teams prefer to play slow, and both teams... Statistically, okay, mea culpa, apparently not, but you can't deny that there was a big difference here. You guys played much more towards the early game in 3 games in a row.
A problem is in the middle of the split, I think we just started becoming scared on the stage. So we come in as a new team, new players, we don't have anything to lose. We pick up some games, some we lose. Players are actually on the stake. And then I feel like people were just frightened a bit and scared on stage to not make mistakes. So we just went over, talked about it, and this is actually how we want to play the game, not just farm and not do anything.
I love that you guys bring up the aspect of mental, because looking at the Splyce guys, like every single time they took the stage, some of them were just like eyes closed, almost looked like they were just like, please let me get through this game, like it'll be okay. And it really did feel like a mental difference, not just a play style difference, but the fact that you guys had nothing to lose, that you were fearless, that you were bold, that you were taking plays, constantly pushing tempo in the game or using the tempo when you had it, whereas there were so many times that Splyce fumbled their tempo, where they went for random heralds, didn't get the herald, handed it to you guys, tried to swap, like it was just a mess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I'll help you out. We
Yeah.
actually prepared replays of each of the games, so we can
Wow.
run through it chronologically. I know often when I ask players who've just won a game about games, it's hard to even recall. So let's take a look at some of the moments and walk through them and see what the difference maker was. Starting with game 1, where a lot of attention was put to the top lane, and there was a Garen Yuumi in the bot lane.
Yeah, we just went for Volibear because I think he didn't have flash in this moment, so we knew we can just one-shot him. And it turned out they also wanted to fight here, but I mean they just couldn't, and they just took the bad fight, I feel like.
What's crazy is that they knew that you guys were there, and I think that play works out if North Garen doesn't step up and get one shot by you guys instantly.
Yeah, well, the problem is that he also has to be the one that initiates the fight. But I mean, if he has no flash, we can just go on him and kill him very easily. So I think they just, I mean, they wanted to fight, but they couldn't win it.
Yeah, Finn, a trend we started seeing rather, in the first game and just continued was that Splyce kept throwing everything in the kitchen sink at you,
Yeah.
but it didn't matter. How did you react?
I mean, I think there was some deaths that I could have been avoided. I think it was the second game. No, I don't remember what game.
With the first blood game 1?
Yeah, first by game 1 I should never have died to, because I kind of knew he was coming and I kind of flipped it. But, well, most often than not, I knew that if they attack me now, we will always get a lot on the other side of the map, so I don't really mind. So I just kept playing aggressive and kind of like threw it at their faces. Please attack me, please
It's like,
attack
okay,
me.
you should never take this trade now, but you did, and then
Yeah.
somehow you turn it around.
I actually like the Garen Yuumi. We played only like I think twice. We never won with it, and we actually never went past like 5 minutes with this because people were just always killing us early game. But I liked this game.
So you're just like, let's do
now.
it.
Well, Finn said in his pre-game interview, we have something prepared and we're going to try it in game one. We had a bit of a discussion about, shouldn't they just play their own style? So how much of a risk did you think it was to take Garen Yumi? Because we know how oppressive it can be, but it can also go wrong.
I just think we think it's like good in this game. Like from the draft purpose, and when we saw an opportunity to pick it, we went for it. And we kind of knew that, okay, it's game one. If we lose, nothing bad happens. But if we win this game with Garen Yumi, then the Yumi they have to change priority on Yumi, right? Because they probably didn't expect us to play Yumi Garen. They thought we're gonna play like standard AD, and then it's a bit hard against this Volibear pick. But if you play Garen, Volibear is kind of useless.
I mean, it's the best way to play a best of 5 by opening up with a bizarre strategy like that. Because like you're saying, you win, then you get an extra one on the board. You don't. You go back to your comfort picks and you play a standard
Do you
game
think
with
it's the best strategy for a team that is the underdog, or is it a good strategy no matter what?
I personally think it's a good strategy pretty much no matter what. And it felt like Splyce were kind of on the same vein in that they were playing more of an early game composition. And I think that their assumption was if this doesn't work, if we don't blow up Rogue, or like if we don't let Rogue get an early game lead over us, we can probably just go back to a late game scaling composition and win there. But Splyce were wrong on both accounts where they didn't contest you guys at all in the lane phase virtually in any of the games. They picked up some kills off of TP plays, but outside of that, like, Splyce just kind of rolled over.
You got the Infernal and I mean, was it baffling to you how easy everything went as well? And this is difficult because I don't want to take anything away from the way you played, right? It was really good, but you must have felt at some times that how are we getting these objectives so easily?
I mean, it's more like we have our turn to make a play, and then we do what we want, and then they kind of don't really use their turn to make a play. They kind of fumble a bit. They kind of try to get too much or too little usually. And then suddenly it's our turn to make a play again, and then we can punish it really hard. So I think they were just a bit caught up in what we were doing and didn't really focus on what they wanted to do. That's why we kind of just
the weirdest thing about those objectives is the Herald in game 2, where that's what you guys said, that they started the Herald, and we just went there and took it. And I think another game they actually didn't. They just went bot side with Sylas, and we saw here on Vision they just gave Herald for free when Kajsa had like 2-0-2, so she was stronger than
And then in game
our
2,
top
Larssen just opens up by solo killing Humanoid. Yeah, in general, Hussein Musfi said that he found that Larssen was kind of the MVP of the first 2 games. How did you think he did?
I think the MVP of 2 games was Woolite with the Garen and Kog'Maw. He also played really, really good. Like, he traded was so much, and once he died because I didn't call that I have no W on both sides, so that was my fault. So I think whole team played really well, so it's really hard to choose MVP.
Sure.
But I think Woolite was like the one who always called to play aggressive because he's really strong with Garen and Kog'Maw, so I really enjoyed it.
Is it also important to you to kind of give praise to Woolite, because I feel he gets shortchanged a lot of the times because of things that may have happened in the past when he's had some solid games here, and you can't erase the past, but what more do you expect from him here? He does his job perfectly.
I mean, I don't really care that what people think about him. I just want to highlight that I think he was the MVP for us, at least those first 2 games. The third one, I mean, he also had a solid Kajsa game, so yeah, he played really well today.
How did you think you did, Vander?
Yeah, I think I did also well. Yeah, I think I played good as well.
So we were talking a lot about how if Rogue's going to win, a lot is going to come off some of the X factor, like a Finn or a Larssen, but mainly what is Vander going to call and how is he going to continue kind of his decision making and shot calling for this team. Do you feel that throughout the split, you probably started out having to call a lot and maybe have a lot of responsibility due to the kind of makeup of the team? Do you feel like that got better and now the team is more calling as a whole?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's just important to be on the same page, like kind of before the game. So if I'm gonna shot call everything during the game, it's not really gonna work because we're gonna lose top side or something on mid, right? I'm like still my main focus on bot side. So if I would have to shot call everything, we would just only do everything through bot. So it's important to just teach the newer players how to play the game. They also give their own ideas, and then when the actual game starts, then everyone can kind of jump in because we went over so many plays and like rotations, objectives, whatever, that everyone just knows what to do in the moment.
I feel like the really important takeaway, not necessarily for you guys because you know, but for fans watching this game is that normally when you have a really young team, it's just like the mechanical outplays and just kind of the brute force nature of like having that star player that they're able to brute force victories. What was so cool about Rogue is that it was playing the map. It was very intelligent League of Legends. It was pop-off performances from multiple members across the team. So this wasn't a, Splyce got cheesed and rolled over. Like Yuumi Garen, that is difficult to deal with, but this was Rogue collectively being the better team in every single game and not just on the day, but then just kind of evolving from some of the strengths that we started to pick out in the regular split. They're a very smart team and they showed that today.
I think that's a key point because
Got you.
you see these trends throughout the split, and then your week 9 was phenomenal when you made it to playoffs, but do you blame people for betting against you today and for putting you as the underdog?
Not really. I mean, it's really, really obvious that Splyce was the favorites today. And I mean, I never mind to be, I don't mind to be an underdog. It's just easier to play. You have zero pressure. And I kind of expected them to have pressure because they are the team that almost got second place. They have players who are really hungry for Worlds, like Chachi.
Looks like they did.
And I think they were kind of feeling the pressure. I mean, I always tell my team that you don't win the game just by winning it, just because you're the favorite. You have to actually make plays and take the game, right? And I feel like Splyce didn't really try to take the game. They just hoped that we're going to lose the game somehow,
Well, let's look at game 3 because I think this was the most difficult one for you and possibly the one where Splyce had the best cards. Finn, what happens in this game and how come you did win it after all?
I mean, I think generally red side is a bit easier to draft. No, I mean, blue side is a bit easier to get like what you want in draft, and red side kind of just has to respond to what you prepare. So I think they got a really satisfactory draft for them, and they kind of, like, look at this.
What happens here?
There's just such now, like.
I mean, me and Larsen kind of cleaned this fight up, like Rookie in the Shy from Sweden.
But the thing is like...
I mean, the problem here was that...
How do you hook... Like, Kavit cannot get away. You killed him, and he must have been so frustrated. You just hooked him throughout the fight, and he couldn't. He tried to rocket jump away and
I mean,
flash.
they got a bit yanked by the club. But
the big problem with the other players that we didn't know about Smite. I mean, Splyce said he has no Smite, but actually had Smite, and then I was really confused what to do, so I didn't say anything and just died.
Okay.
So this was like we're really confused at the moment.
I mean, this was probably our worst.
This was really planned, this engage. So like we knew I'm gonna go on flank. They have no vision there, and we just want to force because we have Mountain Kaisa, so they have to come. And I'm just gonna try to engage.
But you needed the fight though, right? Because it looked like if it came to a fight or if Splyce got Baron, it would have been over, or did you not see it in that way?
I think the problem was kind of the side lanes, that we didn't really have any pressure from sides. That was the main problem of the game, so we just decided to, okay, we have Kledra Khan, maybe we can win some team fights.
I mean, I think that's the key part. Like, we don't really win the sides, but we're really easy ways to set up fights for us that are really favorable. Like, we can come from different angles. Both me and Wander can come from different angles, and we can also run from the same angles. It's really hard for them to walk into an area where we have control, right? So we kind of force them to make the mistakes, so we get a favorable fight.
And the remount is the key for us to just force the fights on Nash.
Mountain Drakes are so OP. Like, please nerf them.
That's actually true.
Okay, well, I think you maybe would have won even without them. The fans have spoken, though. The Kia player of the series is Larsen. So it was, I don't think, Woolite wasn't in the vote. And
it was Finn, Larsen, and Vander.
And Vander, so...
We got fucking carried.
Me? I mean, my Yomikus were like targeted.
I mean, you can't miss it. No? Like, please don't say that.
No, okay, so
Larsen played really great, I mean,
he opened up with
thing is, he also played like really flashy champions, right? So when you see at bot lane playing Kog'Maw Tam, I mean, sometimes people don't really see what they are doing, right? But yeah, he played really well Akali and Corki game 1. Game 3, I mean, he died 1v1 as well, so game 3 was a bit worse.
Would you say in general, because with the patch we said like, we're not going to see Corki or blah, 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 was it just important for you guys to pick comfort and kind of the compositions that you wanted and not think too much about, okay, it's not that strong as it has been? Was that the biggest priority, just be comfortable?
For sure, but we were kind of thinking how to draft for lanes and for comp in general, maybe put some flex or two in there. And I mean, we didn't really know sometimes how we're going to end up draft. We have some ideas, but we just pick what we think is going to have some pressure for us, and that's it. Not much thing about like nerfs. The nerfs for Corki are something, but it's not like the champions and playable.
Well, I know Finn just wanted to play his Kled probably in the last game, and you were down like 50 CS.
I mean, We had a bit of wonky rotations where I kind of lost 2 waves in a row. And then it kind of snowballed off that.
But you made up for it with that Kled ultimate on the top tower.
I mean, the Kled top was a bit of a gamble, but not really, because we know, like, okay, we either get turret or we get turret and kills. So.
Yeah. I mean, big thing is we somehow saw the jungle not being top side. And then there was bot side somewhere, and then it was actually free to just dive them.
Yeah, right.
I feel like they sometimes just showed too much like on the map for no reason where they are, so we could just go for deep plays and risky ones.
I think you guys hit the nail on the head in that the idea of like tempo when it's Splyce's turn to make a play versus your turn to make a play, that whenever it was your turn to make a play, you were like contesting for Baron or diving towers or taking dragons, like you were doing so much more with it. When it was Splyce's turn to make a play, they'd be like, we'll clear a ward. We'll maybe look for a pick. Maybe we get the pick, but it just wasn't as effective and efficient as it should have been.
Yeah, I think we really drafted for it as well. Like, Kled is really easy to, like, if you have a window, you can really easily brute force, especially with Rakan. So we had a bit easier time doing this game, but yeah, I can agree.
I mean, G2 are the kings of making plays on tempo, right?
Yeah.
Because they don't just fight randomly. When they have tempo, then actually they force really hard, and they have really talented players. So that's kind of how we also try to emulate in a way.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're not that good yet, but maybe some.
Hey, you're on the
someday.
way. You said before we're underdogs, so we don't have any pressure to play. If we take a look at the updated playoffs bracket, the good news is that you're going to be the underdogs for, you know, whatever you end up playing, so you'll never have pressure, which is good.
Perfect.
I do want to also just put people's attention on the fact that Splyce is now out of playoffs and also has a chance to not even be able to get to Worlds or not even to play in the regional qualifier at all. It depends on other factors. If Vitality does very well, I think it is, because then they just wouldn't get there on points. So, Frost, do you just kind of want to round out the disappointment of what happened here today for Splyce?
I mean, the short of it is it's devastating. We were closest to Splyce on the side of where the casters were set up, so we constantly saw Splyce coming out. And again, every single time they came out after you guys beat them in game number 1, I really have to put back this idea of like mental pressure. It looked like the players were anxious. It looked like they were a bit uncomfortable, and maybe I'm reading too much into it, but I think you see that on some of the gameplay. And so to not make regional qualifiers, or even if Splyce do make regional qualifiers, I think it's a really big task that the staff have to reset their player mental, to get Splyce in good condition, to get them ready to try to make that run.
And it's just so devastating because, you know, for so many years, and we keep saying it, they don't get there, but this is just the inverse. This is the worst they could have possibly done. I opened the show this afternoon, with a monologue ending it with Splyce. This is their chance to do well if they don't fall at the first hurdle.
You guys just blue-shelled the shit out of them.
Completely.
I'm sorry.
I mean, I'm sad for Chachi because I played with him in Schalke as well, and we also it was like last best of 5. Either we win against Fighting in finals or against G2 later in the summer playoffs, and he has never been to Worlds. I mean, he's a really good guy and he is working hard, and he, I think, also plays good. So I'm sad for Chachi, but
I mean, yeah, you can sad for the players, right? But as an org, it's just completely devastating. Before we move on to the next matchup, Vander, you mentioned you were in the finals. We saw you on the video, actually, last year, getting to the stage with Schalke. And you've talked a bit about the fact that you're still going and you want to keep going, because of course you're going to keep going. You've worked at this for so long, and you keep reaching these high highs. I mean, you made it to finals. Now this roster, nobody expected a lot from Rogue, let's be honest. And you and them find yourselves now in playoffs in a possible round 2, which you could also win. What does it mean to you to just, keep doing these fantastic things in Europe?
Yeah, so I mean, I feel I'm still a good player and I can be in the top teams. So I'm just happy to prove people wrong that doubted me after Schalke, I guess, final run, because I was just playing Braum Alistar. But I mean, those chances were just OP, so I was trying to get them when I could.
Now you play Yumi.
Yeah, Yumi, and I didn't play Braum. They banned it once and they picked it from me. So
Yeah. No problem. And Finn, what's it like for you, the experience? We've talked to you a lot over the weeks, but yeah, it's getting to that next level. You know, you guys have a real chance of getting to Athens.
I mean, I don't think we should think too much of it. We're just gonna keep going as we have, and as long as we play like we're doing scrims, we're gonna keep winning.
Interesting. All right, then tomorrow, Schalke 04 versus Vitality. I'll go down the line. Frosk, what's going to happen?
I mean, I predicted Schalke, but honestly, after today, I don't know. Vitality are very dangerous. We talk about how they are clutch players. You can never count them out, but I don't think that at least what I've seen from the tape, that they have the coordination. I don't feel like personally that they play the game how I believe the game should be
I
played.
didn't think that about Rogue either.
And Schalke play the game very cleanly. They're a very smart team. It's very crisp and
I've
controlled.
heard this before.
I know, right?
Finn, what do you think?
I mean, I think generally Schalke is a lot stronger as a team. I think they play very smart and I mean, they really know how to play the game, so they don't have like areas where they lack. In the same way that Vitality kind of relies too much on enemy disrespecting tempo or like getting cheesy picks somehow. While I do believe that Vitality has some really good players as well, especially I think Cabochard is like extraordinary as a top laner. He's probably one of the best, I think, in the league. So I think they have like glimmers of hope where they can outshine Schalke.
Well, I think it will mainly come down to upset performance and Ignar. If they gonna play a really solid game, how they play in scrims at least, then they're gonna win. And if they're gonna, let's say, get caught off guard by some picks from Attila Jactor, then the confidence might drop a little bit. And if they're gonna play like too safe, I mean, they're just an engine, I feel like, in their team. Just how better bot lane will win.
Yeah, if you look at what better bot lane will win, there we go. So that is upset then, in your opinion?
I mean, they are for sure better, but thing is, Attila and Jactor, they're really dangerous, as you said, and they have a lot of cheese prepared, like fiddle sticks, for example. Like you kind of feel uncomfortable when this guy level 6, you don't know where he's on the map, and I mean, you know, they can just suddenly like go 5 minutes anywhere.
Oh yeah, they play anything.
I think one of the biggest differences, though, between like a Schalke and a Splyce is that Schalke will actually attack you in lane phase, especially Upset and Ignar. They will look for 2v2 kills, whereas it feels like Kabe and Norscaran don't do that as often or as consistently. I love that you bring up the Fiddlesticks, also like the Draven pick for both these guys. So I expect the bot lanes tomorrow to be quite volatile and really play around like firepower in different like power matchups.
It's so interesting because today I didn't think anything mental or losing a game would throw Splyce off so much and would give you guys like, and you guys playing so well is also something that completely caught me off guard. So now I'm not sure if I do want to put it, because I put a 3-1 for Schalke because I think the X Factor is going to give Vitality one game no matter what. But yeah, the tilt is real. It can happen, Frosk.
I thought you changed your vote after the therapy.
What?
I thought you changed your
Vote
vote.
after the therapy. Yeah, I don't know, man. Vitality so far this split, it's just been so up and down that I have a hard time putting in there. But that's exactly how dangerous they are.
I really don't think Vitality is the team that will get mental breakdown.
No.
I mean, the only thing could happen is that if they're 0-2 and they get like super outclassed, that they lose both games in 20 minutes, then they might be just hopeless.
Yeah.
But Schalke is the team that can actually collapse if they lose 1 or 2 games. So the mental is for sure stronger Vitality, but I'm not saying that Schalke doesn't have a good one, you know. But they might tilt a little bit.
They may. Okay, well, we'll check in tomorrow and see how it ends up. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week to play Schalke or Vitality, which is crazy just saying this. Thank you so much for joining me, Vander, Finn, Frosk as well. Rogue makes it to round 2 of the playoffs. Crazy and more craziness tomorrow. Vitality versus Schalke 04 at 4:30 Central European Summertime. So we'll see you then.
Incredible job.
Now bot. Now looking to pick a fight with Vizichachi. Remember, Spear of Shojin's going to make Vizichachi a big threat, but it's not going to matter too much if he gets taken down here. Trying to get enough Fury, Cole the Meek, but Finn just takes him out. Humanoid gets taken down. The Finn, he's going off. He's on a rampage. The Garen now coming in, but inspired on the backside. Goodbye to Kave. Right into the Meek grinder. Splyce absolutely getting ripped to pieces. Finn now godlike. Kave next on the list. They're going to take him out. They have absolutely dismantled Splyce for their first win. Well, I can't afford to be the body blocker this time, but does it need to be a fantastic ulti going in on Humanoid? The Azir is dead. Larsen's invisible. They tried to lock him up. Vander saved the day, but that means Woolite is vulnerable. No Tahm Kench Devour for a few more seconds, but it's not going to matter. Massive damage on the Kame. He's exhausted, and he's dead. Shut down for Larsen. Vander very much in trouble. A lot of damage goes down onto him, but once again, Larsen the man you have to keep your eyes on, trying to chase down, looking for Xerxes. Is going to get the kill. Finn now on the hunt, has the reset. Kame is going to get pulled back. Infernal Chains will find him, but no. Kame still trying to survive. It will not be enough. Larsen on a rampage. Oh, to falling through. Xerxes, it will not be enough. He gives his life, and at this moment, on this day, Rogue from 5th place to 2-0 to match point versus Splyce. Here we go, Vanderhoff on the flank, he finds it, it's a beautiful engage, everyone goes in, Humanoid is left, holding his head in his hands, he doesn't even get to participate, the Akali is useless, Roy takes down Kame, and Humanoid dies in the end. Rogue have destroyed Splyce. Not just a 2-0, not just a win, but here we go, defying all expectations. The legacy of European rookies is alive and well with Rogue. They destroy Splyce. They secure top 4.